And this is the Mercedes-Benz Rangers postgame show, and the book is officially closed on this Rangers season. A book that was more a mystery than a thriller. Rangers win the season finale 4-2 over the Tampa Bay Lightning. Hi, everyone, inside our Delta MSG studios alongside Steve Alliquette. I'm John Giannone. A lot will be written, a lot will be said between now and when training camp opens in just about 5 months. But the Rangers did put forth a better effort down the stretch. But unfortunately, that was long after the damage had already been done.
Right, and what we saw were some outcomes from players that were showing themselves in their best form, okay? You look at some of the young guys in the bottom six, some young defenders, a young goaltender. These are opportunities that some of these players really made the most of. And Dylan Garand, for instance, his game tonight, I would say that the best news about his game tonight was the fact that he gave up the second goal that he would want back, and he had the opportunity to respond. And he shows the decision makers that he can come back and make big saves. The first save of his game was a breakaway. The remaining part of the first period, he was called on to make 3 big saves, 2 in tight. So he was coasting into the second period. There was more action in the second part of the second period. A big save there on Paul on a one-timer. That 2-on-1 on Hagel, I thought, was a big save in the third period. And then a number of plays off of deflections and broken plays. He showed his composure, and he showed his ability to find himself a big goaltender through traffic. You can see a big shoulder save there. And, you know, when you look at his overall body of work, you're looking at 9+ periods, a .948 save percentage, more than enough information and feedback for everybody that's going to make a decision on who's going to be the backup goaltender next year for this club. And remember, you need 25 points in the standings to make the Stanley Cup playoffs next year. I have a lot of confidence in this guy, and I think they should be really happy with what they've seen from him, and I'm sure he's really happy with what he was able to perform.
Yeah, just 5 goals against on 96 shots over those 3 starts, and a nice night for Dylan Garand to go into the summer and perhaps into next season. Dylan Garand was one of 10 Rangers 24 years or younger who were in uniform and on the ice tonight. And among those sub-25s is our Jersey Mike's sub-above player, and that is Tye Kartye. 2 goals and an assist on the night. And for him, his first career multi-goal game, his first career 3-point game. He had a goal in the first, 1 in the second, an assist in the second period as well. And Stephen, 24 games since coming to the Rangers as a waiver pickup, he had 14 points.
I think he sets a really good example for the young guys in the lineup. He sets a good example for other players that are trying to find a bigger role. The idea of being a bottom 6 player in the NHL is earning more minutes, make them play you. And to follow through with that, you've got to be able to score the odd goal. And for Kartye to come into this game and have 2 goals, 2 big goals, 2 off big-time shots, regardless of who was in net, those are still 2 NHL-type shots. Finding his way below the goal line to make plays happen and get it to the point. The goal here that Perreault scores in the upper ice, he finds himself net front. He's looking for a deflection, but provides that layered screen because he draws in the defenders. In the third period, he's looking for his hat-trick goal. Just rolls off the end of his stick, but he was in on every play. And I think it speaks a lot to the teammates that he has in this game that are looking to help him get his empty net goal for the hat trick. He has 2 opportunities to go for it. You know, he's got a big smile, but you know what? He's a blood and guts player that was getting a lot of support from the other guys on the team. I mean, there's a reason why Adam Fox is looking for him there. It's to give him an opportunity to get a hat trick in a game that, although it's meaningless, it has meaning for a lot of the players that are trying to prepare themselves for next year.
Yeah, and his goal in the first period set the Rangers on their way tonight. It was assisted by Mika Zibanejad, and what a season for him. What a resurrection season after last year. Zibanejad finishes with 34 goals, 44 assists, 78 points in 81 games. He had a goal tonight as well as the assist, and he's a guy for whom so much was focused on going into this training camp based off of last year. He ends up with 16 more points this year than he had last season.
You know, I remember there were points last year where he was not even really comfortable taking his one-timer. He was deferring, he wasn't looking for the puck. Sometimes players have that attitude where, I don't even want the puck, I just want to get rid of it. Well, he was handling the puck more this year. His puck possession time was up. His one-timer, especially the one across the ice, it was second to Kucherov this year in total goals with 16. That's his shot right there, and he reestablished himself as one of the best one-timers from the left side of the ice as a righty in the NHL. It's a weapon. Players and scouting staffs have to prepare for him before every game, and that takes and eats up into the preparation that they have to put forth preparing to play the Rangers. He's a big part of this organization, and I thought he had a great year in the 200-foot game as well. So there was a lot of improvement, but most of that came from a good energy that he played with, and he played with that energy throughout the season. So all of the accolades that he's collecting right now, he deserves them, and I know that he's in a good spot for next year. He wasn't in this position at this point last year, so great for him.
Yeah, and we saw Mika Zibanejad play most of the last 6 weeks alongside Alexis Lafrenière, and that's a player that the Rangers really weren't sure what was going to happen in year 6. And for most of the first half of the season, the answers weren't as positive, clearly, as the Rangers would have wanted them. Then the Olympic break came, and then Alexis Lafrenière scored half of his 24 goals after the Olympic break, and he finishes with 57 points, which ties his career high.
He needed this. You know, it was probably a breath of fresh air. Not that he wanted to see Panarin lead the team, but when Panarin sat out January 28th against the Islanders, it was an opportunity for Lafrenière to get some ice time on the power play. And any forward that plays big minutes in the NHL, that collects points, needs power play time, just to get the touches. And oftentimes players will tell me you just need to feel the puck on your stick during the power play, and it'll always feed into your 5-on-5 game. I remember that game in Philadelphia where he goes upper part of the net. This is where he started to move his game. It wasn't just his net front game that improved. He also improved his range game because he was elevating on those grade A chances. When Lafrenière was struggling earlier in the year, he wasn't getting the puck up off the ice. And when he was shooting it, second part of the season, specifically after the Olympic break, he was hitting corners. For
Lafrenière, for Zibanejad, especially for Mika Zibanejad, the highlight of the season was January 2nd in Florida when the Rangers beat the Panthers 5-1 in the Winter Classic. On that night, the Rangers were 1 point out of a playoff spot. Between January 5th and February 5th, the Rangers went 2-11-1. And when they broke for the Olympic break, they were 19 points out of a playoff spot. What's the coincidence there, or maybe not so much, is that Igor Shesterkin was injured in the very next game after the win in Florida in the Winter Classic. So when you size up and break down Shesterkin's season, where do you go with it?
Well, it's a really surprising playoff year to begin with. No Sorokin, no Shesterkin, no Hellebuck, no Saros, no Thompson. There's a long list of #1 goalies that aren't playing in the playoffs this year. It's a strange year that way. I don't want to discredit or take anything away from the top goalies in the league, but Shesterkin, I would never have guessed that he would miss the playoffs 2 years in a row. Not with his skill set, not with his ability and his competitiveness. Yes, there was an injury, and that did play a role, but I think that a lot of the work that didn't get done at the beginning of the season hurt the overall outcome. It was almost like a college student taking a lot of the first semester to get going, and then your grades catch up with you, you're writing an exam, and you can't even get enough on the exam to get you through the semester.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
But what happened at the beginning of the season just wasn't recoverable because they dug themselves too big of a hole.
25-19-6 for Igor Shesterkin in 51 games this season. Let's head inside the Rangers dressing room. Let's hear from the victorious goaltender tonight, Dylan Garand.
It was a choppy game, but it was a game where we made a couple of big stops. Walk us through it.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a good game. I mean, you know, for the group, sometimes when you're in this position, those are hard games to play. So really proud of the way that we fought there. Yeah, no, it was a good game. I mean, for me, I just tried to go in there and battle, give the guys a chance to win. And, you know, when you put up 4 goals, you know, you should win. So, yeah, the guys played a great game, and nice to finish the season with a win.
They got the early one in period number 3. That must have been a little bit of a wake-up call, and obviously you were there to shut the door. It seemed like your rebound control tonight was really good.
Yeah, honestly, like I feel like I pride myself, you know, that's a huge part of my game is my rebound control. And honestly, the first goal, I was a little upset that I didn't corral. I kind of handcuffed me a little bit, and bad rebound ended up being a goal. So, yeah, obviously they scored one early there in the third. You know, couldn't see it, but yeah, definitely not a great goal by me. You know, got to save that one. But yeah, I mean, when that happens, you know, the crowd gets into it, they get a little life. So, you know, that's fun just to kind of be in there and battle and then try and hold them off. And, you know, we did a good job of that.
Through 3 games of NHL experience, what part of your game from the American League has translated well to the National League?
A lot of it, I think. I think my skating really helps me, you know, be in position. Obviously, the game's a little bit faster. You know, these guys are, you know, really creative out there and you know, can move the puck quick. So that's a huge part, and I think reading plays too. The nice part about the NHL, honestly, is that, you know, the plays that develop actually happen. You know, there's, you know, less chaos and, you know, less choppiness. They, you know, pass tape to tape, and, you know, you see it laying there, and they hit it. You know, it actually happens. So, yeah, I think those two things have been great for me, and, yeah, it's been a lot of fun this year.
Dylan, it's been a little while since you got your last opportunity, but what did it mean to you for them to give you one last look tonight before the end of the season?
Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, honestly, we had really clear communication. You know, me, Sully, and Drew even, you know, we had meetings and they talked about, you know, stuff. So it wasn't guaranteed for me to play. And, you know, I'm glad that they kept me and was able to get that experience and ultimately get one more game has been great. And, you know, it was nice to finish the season there with a win. And, yeah, it's, you know, I love playing in the NHL. It's so much fun. So, yeah, it's great to play.
How much has this taste fueled you going into next season?
I never want to go back to the American League, honestly. Like, I'm so hungry to be here. You know, I want to be in this league and a part of this organization, and, you know, there's nothing else like it. It's the best league in the world. So, yeah, it's been a great taste, and definitely, you know, going into the summer, very motivating to be back here.
Love the attitude, right? I mean, I'm sure you can relate to that thinking. Yeah.
I never want to go back to the American Hockey League. It's
Right.
even in a lost season, it's still the NHL in every sense of the word for somebody that's trying to get their footing in the league. And I like the fact that he's approaching it this way. He's very enthusiastic about what he's about to do, and I have all the confidence in the world in him.